All right, we're live.
Okay, today is December 21st, 2023. This is a meeting of the Webster Planning Board. We're going to take attendance. We have, Paul, would you step in for Addie Mock?
Sure.
Yeah, so we have three. My name's Craig Fournier.
Marlo Herrick.
Paul King.
Okay. The Pillsbury Lake Commissioners aren't here today, so we'll skip that item, number 4. And
Sorry, I lost track of time. Well, when it gets dark at 4:30, that's easy to do.
today is, just for your information, today is the shortest day of the year in August.
Yes, you know who told me? News 9.
Okay, so we have another member here. Would you introduce yourself?
Susan Youngs.
All right, thank you. So we're going to talk about driveway regulations, number 5. Do you want to start, Mr. Evans?
Well, do you all have that copy I sent you?
Yep.
You should.
Yeah, this is just some of the suggestions I had.
You want a copy of it?
Is there one right here?
Yep, you can take that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd also sent you a chart showing some of the comparisons for the state and the town. Some of those things are really pretty close, because of some of the issues dealing with the state and the town. State maintained roads, you should be looking at going with state on that first. From my understanding, it's 33 feet from the center of the road is a state right of way. That's what I've been told. So,
Who told you that?
oh,
I believe that varies depending upon the width of the road.
Right, 33 feet from center in, that's 60, so that's gonna be a 4-rod right-of-way, with 16 and a half feet in a rod.
so anyways, yeah, I consider changing it that the state roads, state maintained roads, you follow the state guidelines for that entrance only. As I stated there, you could put, in the case of a driveway intersecting with a state road, the state driveway permit shall be a requirement prior to applying for a Webster driveway permit. Issuance of a state driveway shall be regarded as compliance with the Webster requirements for the design of the driveway street intersection within the state's right-of-way. That spells it out that state guidelines only apply to that much. And then next paragraph, roads in the town of Webster that are state maintained and state has right-of-way control of Battle Street, Long Street, White Plain, and Tyler Road. That's my understanding. That Webster or Emmett can tell you for sure.
But
Are
the
those the ones
state,
that the state does the maintenance on?
the state doesn't plow, right? The state doesn't plow
No,
Tyler.
we went to maintain it, but when it comes to driveway regulations, it still have to go through the state on Tyler Road. White Plains Road only goes to, Little Hill.
Yeah.
And then Little Hill to the Pearson Farm. It's state.
Little Hill?
The first.
Just around the corner.
600 feet.
Okay.
But so if the state doesn't plow, then wouldn't, it seems to me that the Webster driveway regulations would have to be in addition to the state ones.
My understanding from what we discussed in previous meetings is the purpose is to, the apron, which was the topic.
Yep,
That apron is to protect the edge of the road,
yep.
that the town does not have to repair the edge of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So if the state maintains it, the state doesn't have a requirement for that apron. So that portion you can disregard.
Depends on how you define maintenance to me, because plowing is part of maintenance.
Repair.
Yeah,
If the purpose is that the town
Yeah, I
doesn't
understand,
have
to
to pay for
protect the
repairing
edge of the
pavement caused by wear on the edge, then follow the state's guidelines, because the state doesn't require it. Code-wise, they're very close to how it reads for that entrance, but the requirements are for the entrance. Let's see. And farther down the page, just delete that one paragraph, because it got covered in the one that you'd be adding.
It's
We're on page
page 5, right?
Yeah, I think, right, page 5 you're looking at?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pages renumbered when I had those edits, so it
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
match up to the actual.
But you're saying where it says delete, in case of a driveway intersection, a state road, issuance of a state driveway permit shall be regarded as compliance with the town of Webster's requirements for design and driveway street intersection. That's where you're talking?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. Now we're on page 6. Dealing with the width of the driveway. Section B, paragraph 2. State roads, the maximum entrance is 50 feet for a shared driveway, commercial and municipal buildings. You have to consider going that route, because if you've got somebody, such as a logging company, we'll say, that had a business on one of the town roads, 16-foot driveway is not very good for getting a truck in and out. So you ought to consider changing that to 50 feet on the town roads for commercial or municipal.
That all would have to go through for a special exemption through the planning board to the zoning and everything if somebody was gonna do something like that, correct?
Yeah.
And then I think there are provisions in the driveway regulations at the end where the board can make exceptions if they had to. I think there are, in the planning board options sections.
Yeah,
So for example, if somebody did get a commercial business and they wanted to have a larger driveway, that is something they could discuss with the planning board on a case-by-case basis
Correct.
for the business that
Yeah.
was being approved.
But that would also cover you there, that you're telling the people who are gonna be applying what your maximum is.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, that's the way the state reads. Then down in paragraph 3, in all other cases, driveways must have sufficiently sized culvert space a minimum of 4 horizontal feet from the street edge. But, I mean, that's the goal, but you're gonna have some cases there where you might not have 4 feet, depends on the slope of the property. Just, you should note that exceptions are considered for
That-
circumstances.
but as Russ said, that's in our ability at the end, that if there are reasons that we can, like if we can't do the grade we really want because of terrain and everything, that we can make exceptions, and so,
Okay.
I think that's,
So what Paul and I've done in the past, Craig and I haven't because we haven't worked that long yet together. But, if it required a driveway, a culvert in the driveway, Paul and I would grade stake that out, measure that out, and we'd show them folks and come to an agreement with the contractor where the culvert was gonna go, because everyone varies.
yeah. I agree, that's, when they go out to inspect the driveway, they can make certain
Okay.
requirements as to what, before they get the driveway permit.
There are some cases where a culvert would be a hindrance to the driveway and the road rather than a help.
Right, the one Craig and I looked at the other day on Corn Hill, the guy was gonna put a culvert in, but he would've had 3-foot ditches on each side of the driveway, and it would've, so, because what people don't understand is, you got a culvert going under your driveway, you're responsible for that, keeping it clean, and nobody does.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up because I didn't require a culvert where I put the driveway, but I wouldn't have had 4 feet. You know, if I did need one. You know, my original plan was to put the driveway farther down, and I would have had to put a culvert in, and I wouldn't have had 4 feet to do it in, so that's why I brought that up.
So,
You don't have a culvert in now.
No, there's no requirement for it.
Yeah, but I mean, requirements aside, do you need one?
No. What I need is the state to dig their ditch out because it pools at my driveway because the ditch isn't sloped going to the culvert that they have. Well, my neighbor
So
drainer,
where's the culvert that they have?
it's maybe 100 feet down from me,
Yeah,
that goes
that's
under the
what I
road.
thought. Yeah.
When my neighbor pumped her pool out on a nice sunny day, I had a big pool of water at the bottom of my driveway. Came down the road and settled in my driveway because the
So
state's
would a
ditches.
culvert solve that problem?
No, because the state needs to dig the ditch between my driveway and the culvert.
Okay.
So
It
finds
doesn't
its
have,
way
it
to
doesn't have the
culvert.
proper grade. I have to go out there when they get a big rain and go dig it out again, so the water drains into the,
Does the state,
Culvert down the road.
does the state know about that?
yeah, I call them. I'm getting a little tap dance about it.
Okay, what else we got here?
Page 7, paragraph 9. The intersection of the edge of the driveway, including any corner and the street edge, shall be at least 10 feet from a butter's property.
That's all.
You require a 10-foot distance from the property. The state doesn't have any requirement. However, if you want to have a 10-foot requirement, the way your regulation reads, you got to have 10 feet at the entrance. Nowhere in your regulation does it say that you can't parallel the property line. So you probably should put it in your zoning ordinance that the driveway has to be 10 feet from the property line.
I believe it's in the regulations for the driveway.
It says 10 at the
10 feet,
entrance.
10 feet from the property line.
No, it's entrance. It's that paragraph right there. Intersection of the edge of the driveway, including any corner rounding, and the street edge shall be at least 10 feet from the brother's property line. It's only talking about the intersection. It doesn't address the rest of the driveway.
In other words, you're saying that somebody, according to our regulations, somebody could put their driveway 10 feet, but then veer over and go
They
right
could do that.
next
So
to the property.
if you put that in
Yeah.
the zoning, then you're covered. I have a lot of experience with regulations, and I learned to read what's not there.
I mean, theoretically, they have to show us they have to submit a plan.
Correct.
But your ordinance doesn't state the 10
True.
feet. That's
Yeah.
why you need to put it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, he's
Right,
right.
if you put it there, you have something to back, like this gentleman
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
you have something to back it up.
Right.
Yeah, I think he's right here.
Yeah,
Page 8, paragraph 12, all parts of an otherwise unpaved driveway within 3 feet should add of a town-owned paved road shall be paved. Just for clarification. And also, you should add in there what the purpose is, because, you know, the first meeting we had, Addie said it was for the drainage. Mr. King, in the next meeting, said it was to protect the edge of the pavement. You should put it in there so, in the future, planning board members know why that's there. And
You're
people
talking
do
about
it.
grade now.
What's that?
No, it's
No,
talking about
the
the
apron.
paved apron.
The apron.
Oh, yeah.
You just add the purpose in there so it's clear to everybody and no questions down the road.
so you're requiring 3 feet, but like we just dug up Pleasant Street, 2,500, 3,000 feet of that, and where we went down through, I mean, we bump it out with the paver, I mean, that's 10 or 12 inches. To do all them back, I mean, a lot of them didn't have any to start with. But I mean,
When did the apron part come into fruition?
Yes.
When did the apron, when did you have to?
Before my time.
Is
has
that-
it always been 3 feet?
As
Or
far
even
as-
an
As far as I know, it's always been 3 feet, yes. Talking with previous board members that have now retired, it's always been 3 feet.
I saw it in one document, that was 2007, so it was there then.
Okay.
before my time.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't really look like they're that wide. I mean, I've noticed some, even some of the new ones, because ever since we've been talking about this, I'm noticing things that I
Sure.
never even looked at before.
Yeah, I brought it up last meeting. Somebody stopped, they wanted to pave my driveway. I was curious, I asked them how much it would cost to do the 3 foot. They said $1,500.
That's cheap.
That's because they were in the area.
Yeah, it had some extra tire on, so they, yeah.
Pavement is not cheap, and sometimes, you know, again, certain things that we do in this town that other towns don't necessarily do, but it's been around for a long time, so I guess people will be aware.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea, but I don't, 3 feet, you know,
Seems like it doesn't really need to be quite that wide.
well, no, if it's been there that long, I mean, I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm just talking out loud.
Yeah, right. No, we're interested in your opinions.
What would be customary? How many feet?
Well, I don't know, when we retire a road, we bump them out 10 inches a foot, but, the shoulder is, but it's 6 or 8 inches deep, it's not paper thin.
All right. Where are we?
13.
15. Okay, you should put in there, you know, what's your preferred grade? You know, as I brought up, you know, the issues I know you had with Dustin Road down there. You've had a few trips. You know, spell out the grade, spell out any curve radius. Curve radius was a question when I was building my driveway, because originally I had a curve in there. They wanted to know what the radius was. You should put that in there and make it clear, save everybody's time with trying to hash out discrepancies.
Well, the grade off in the road's always been a half an inch per foot, correct, Paul?
Yep.
But that's coming off the road, you know?
Yeah.
But once you get past that, now, is it 12%, is it 15% maximum? What's your maximum grade?
On the driveway?
Yeah,
What is it, 10%?
Plus or minus 5%.
No,
Five.
that's for the first
Yeah.
20 feet.
but it doesn't spell out past that. And I think that was one of the issues down on Dustin Road, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
Some of the
was.
grade was too
Yeah.
much?
And the issue there was not only the grade, but getting it was dangerous for a fire truck and ambulance, because it was coming down and then you had a sharp curve.
Right, curve radius.
Right.
That's why I say it, put that in
Well-
there, so when they get an engineering plan, that's gonna be thought about, and it's gonna save
Well,
that money.
yeah, but the problem there was no engineering plan.
What's
They
that?
never came to us,
Ah, okay.
engineering plan.
No, they went ahead and just did they didn't even come get a driveway permit, so.
They just built it and said, give us a permit.
But those things should be covered, you know, so people know. You know,
I mean,
driveways. all-
as Emmett has said, that, you know, once you get a paper thing, then we can look at it, we can make adjustments, we can do a lot of things. If they go ahead and build it, then they're in a shitload of trouble, and we're in a lot of trouble too.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is if you put it there first, they're not gonna have to make changes.
Yeah.
They know up front what it is.
Where are we talking about putting all this? In the
Uh,
driveway regulations or
In the-
somewhere else?
That would be in the driveway right where I got
Most of the
it.
stuff you're talking about is already in the driveway regulations.
Driveway regulations said 5% grade.
Yeah? Okay,
You can
well,
do more than a 5%
I-
grade.
Okay.
So you need to
Well,
put what the
it-
maximum grade is after that, so they know. You can't have a 25% grade. I've seen some towns around here, driveways have some pretty,
Oh, yeah.
new driveways are pretty steep.
Yep.
Or even in town.
Well, we do live in New Hampshire. And, you know,
That's true.
part of this,
But-
I think the only concern, I think what you guys keep going back to, and I get where you're coming from, so that Whereas up front and with people when they purchase a piece of property, I know some of my concerns is the 5%. I think it should be 10% to 15%, like the towns around us. But with that being said, the only thing I think that makes everybody a little bit is we sit here and we may say, oh, that sounds reasonable. The scary part is some people might sit here and not say that sounds reasonable. So as she stated, it says that we can come back and, we'll relook at everything, and it just makes you, but it makes you a little bit concerned that if somebody isn't reasonable, and what is reasonable is a little bit of the problem. But
Yeah.
hopefully people would always be reasonable, right?
Where have you been living?
And a rock, but, yeah, so that's my, I think that's what you're trying to state, is the more that we can at least put some of the,
Yeah.
without being overregulated. I personally, that's,
Well, you're not gonna
But-
approve a 20% grade.
right,
You know?
right,
So this, if you put it there, they're gonna know that up front.
yeah,
If they want 20%, hang it up, they aren't gonna get it.
yes.
Okay, we got you.
Well, either that, if that's the case, he's not gonna go put their fire out.
Well, we'll try.
From the bottom. Yeah, 20%, yeah, I know.
Okay, can we move on here?
Yep, yeah, driveways longer than 300 feet, you gotta put in there, what if you had 2 driveways? You got a back door or something coming in, do they both have to have that passing lane?
Well, that's something to think about.
There are
It
a
is,
couple
sure
properties.
is.
There are a couple properties I've seen that look like they have driveways that are longer than 300, that are more than one.
Yeah, well, that was, some of these driveways predate zoning, right?
But I mean, if somebody wants to do it now, can they do it? Do they have to have it on both?
2 driveways going to one property?
Yeah.
Where?
How many you got?
Got one driveway go into one piece of property, well, 2 pieces of property. In the lower driveway goes into the shop.
You got 3 up there, right?
3 driveways?
Well, you got, one goes directly to the business, one goes up around front of the house, and you got the other one comes off Pleasant.
Russell's driveway comes off in Pleasant Street.
Up to your building.
Can get through there, it's all clear.
Well, it's hard back.
No, it's not 300 feet.
It's over 300. So anyways,
So what's your point?
I'm just saying, if it's over 300, does it have to have a turnout? And the passing lane?
There's a half an acre up there, all clear. It's not big enough?
All right, let's move on.
Well, because I could, I see what he's saying. He's trying to make the point that if you have another way to your home, in our case, we do. Is it passable right now? No, but it could be. And would that make it that you know what I mean? So we're not under their requirements, but if somebody did have it, that you could come in from both
But-
ways.
Your house number, when you're responding to a fire.
Right, what is that?
Is
Where is that
call
driveway?
road. If we have a building fire,
Mm-hmm.
or I should, something up there, we're not gonna come up Pond Hill and come in the back way.
No, probably not.
I mean, why would you? Because is it plowed? Is it whatever? It's
Yeah.
not,
Well, I'm inclined to just leave this the way it is. I understand what you're trying to cover all the bases here, but this seems like a little much to me.
All right, page 9, paragraph 17. I just throwing it out there. The state allows 2 driveways with less than 500 feet. Webster requires more than 500 feet for 2. Do you want to leave it as is, or do you want to change it? Just throwing it out there.
I believe right now the planning board is in the works of trying to change something in that field, in that area. So I would leave it right alone for now.
I'm just, like I said, I'm just throwing it out there.
There's another change we should consider in this. That was something that, oh, I forget what his name, in Lake Road brought up. That we don't have it in the driveway regulations, the way we do it, where the planning board designates one member to be the person that goes out and looks at it, and the fire chief goes out and looks at with the person, and that they can appeal it to the planning board. So I think we should write a section on that and then put that right in there so people understand what the process is and it's in the ordinance. That way we can fall back on it so that the process that we're currently doing is reflected in this.
Does that make sense to both of you guys?
I think we already have that in there, but we need to change it to a better lot. It's fine with me.
I'm not saying change the process, I'm saying just make sure it's
Yeah,
in
make
here.
sure it's in the reg. What do you think?
Repeat that, Russell, I was off and I was in
So,
space.
I was saying the process that we're currently following, it was recommended that we put it into this ordinance, where you and Paul or you and Craig go out and look at it and do the approval. And if the person has a disagreement with that, that they can appeal to the planning board for that.
Right,
Basically just
So it-
formalizing what we've already got.
What
Right.
we've already got and putting it in there so that it's in here, so we can fall back on it if somebody complains about it.
Yes,
That's the point.
and so when they look at it, they'll say, okay, this is what's gonna happen. Two of these people are gonna come out and look at it, and if there are problems, yeah.
Right.
It ought to be in there,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
just to clarify.
So back on page 5, paragraph 2. After the last meeting, I was talking with Addie and discussing the state road, town road stuff, and Addie just said, well, you know, if you need a state permit for driveway on a state road, why do you need a Webster permit? You really need that Webster permit because that's the only way it's gonna get inspected. And you gotta comply with the Webster regulations past that state.
Yeah, and I think, you
And
know
that's-
what? I agree, I think we need to have both, require both.
That's-
Require a state permit before you get a Webster permit. And we had attempted to change that in our proposal, but the wording isn't right in that, and I wanna revisit that. But I agree with
So that's all I got.
that. What?
So that's all he
Oh,
has.
that's all, okay. Thank you for your comments there. Some of them are good, they clarify a lot of things that we, loose ends, let's put it that way. So, I'm gonna go on to item 6, zoning amendments, vote and warranty recommendations. So, last month, we talked about, there were 4 proposals for changes to the regulations. And there was a lot of suggestions about different things. And I think, it was clear to me that the wording of every one of those, the first 3 at least, needed revision. And they also needed, what it needed was a statement of why we're doing this, so people understand the context of what's happening. And to do that correctly, I think we need a work session with the planning board, not a public session, we just go a work session.
So these are for the new minimum lot size and frontage that we
Yeah,
talked
but
about.
there are 2 other articles also regarding.
I guess I
there-
didn't put it in there.
Yeah, because I was very good, because I missed the last meeting, so I read through all of the minutes
I
from
thought I
last.
put that in there, I guess I did.
Well,
That's
one
what I had.
was the impact fee regarding
The impact.
Oh,
fee
yeah,
ordinance.
that,
3
years, right.
Well, there was the
And then-
driveway ordinance, the zoning, which was the acreage and the frontage requirements.
Yeah, and the driveway. So all 3 of those need to be revised.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I'm inclined to put it off till next year. I'm not inclined to do it this year.
Since there's only, what,
Well,
10 days
I don't
left in
think
this
that's a bad
year?
idea, because I do think there's a few more things that we should at least research and scope out, you know, some of the things that were suggested tonight.
Yeah.
Different things, so that, and I agree with you, at least, you know, if we have a set with the work session, so that we can bounce things off, like,
Yeah.
you know, I have what I feel is, you know, comparable to other towns. Somebody might say, well, this is why we, you know, why we did it this way, and, you know, have kind of a go back and forth a little bit.
Yeah.
And then present it,
Yeah,
once
exactly,
once we-
exactly. A work session.
yeah.
I agree. Paul, what are your thoughts?
Paul, give us your thoughts.
I think this is something that should be tabled until we get a full board.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what,
Yeah.
that's kind of what the other reason you're saying that, too,
And
yeah.
three of us, well, four of us here.
Yeah, we're not gonna
Should
do
not be
anything.
making the rules for the whole board.
Yeah, we're not gonna do anything tonight, certainly. And are you in agreement?
Sure, I think that makes sense.
Okay, so we're gonna put that off. We're not gonna try and get it in this year's warrant. We're gonna schedule a work session sometime next year and hash this all out.
Okay. We're also gonna need another work session to do the final CIP meeting, because I wanna get that tomorrow and get it to anybody too.
Okay.
No, I don't have all the road stuff still, so,
Uh-oh.
and it's not on Emmett. Emmett gave us everything, we're still waiting on the Central New Hampshire Planning Commission to get us all the numbers. I gotta call them again.
Okay, so approval of the draft minutes.
Did you already do the Pennacook, or the
They-
Pillsbury Lake thing?
They're not coming, they're coming to the next meeting.
Oh,
They must have been Christmas shopping.
Oh, no, somebody couldn't make it. Let's just say there was an emergency, so
Yeah.
it'll just,
because I've been wondering about that particular lot that's filled with, in Pillsbury Lake,
well, you
that's
can
filled.
call Dana about that or me and we'll have a nice conversation
Okay.
on where we are with that one, cause that's,
Which one?
yeah. Yep, there's a couple.
Okay. Has everybody read over the ordinance and, I mean.
read over the minutes?
Minutes, and they like them, and there's no changes.
I'm gonna
Just
abstain
lost
since I
about a
wasn't
few
here.
things, but.
Oh, no, what did I do?
No, I was just kidding. Didn't she bring up that it wasn't, you know, she didn't remember, hear about some of the different other changes because of the last meeting?
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I read through stuff,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
maybe once the
Yeah.
video is off, I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a proposal here?
Well,
So- Somebody has to move, I can't.
yeah,
I make a motion, we approve the minutes as written.
I second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain. I wasn't here, so I can't really.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Any other business that we need to talk about? You mentioned the CIP.
oh yeah, well, the CIP stuff, we're waiting. Emmett and me and Dana, we all talked to the Central New Hampshire Planning Commission to get the road study done. I'm still waiting for them to get the plan put together and submit it back to us before we were gonna hold the CIP meeting to discuss the road funding. But at this point, I'm beginning to think if we're not getting it yet, we might as well just move forward with what we have and try to do the best we can and get whatever
Yeah.
recommendations we can into the board before the budget process is finished.
Yes, I agree. I wouldn't wait much longer.
That's what I'm saying, so I think we should try to arrange a work session next month to get that in, and I'm gonna summarize everything that we've talked about and put it in the same format that it is in the town report to present to the select board for the recommendations for this year, because I think that's the easiest format to understand, and that way we can bring it back to the board and present it to them.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else? I move we adjourn.
So is my phone. At 7:06. News 9 alert.
A second.
All in favor, raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. We're done.
Thank you.
Not as
Yeah, no lights yet.
Put 'em on-
I have my own light.